We've all heard the stories. A lottery winner hits a multi-million-dollar jackpot, or a professional athlete signs a massive contract, only to wind up completely broke a few years later. The reason this happens so often comes down to a basic cultural misunderstanding. We tend to measure success by the size of a paycheck or the price tag on a driveway, confusing high income with actual wealth. When someone is struggling financially, handing them more money rarely solves the issue. The real problem is usually a lack of financial aptitude, specifically not understanding what to do with that money once it hits their bank account. Without basic financial literacy, a sudden, massive salary doesn't buy freedom. It often just accelerates the speed at which a person drives themselves into debt. This diagram illustrates the classic middle-class cash flow pattern. Notice how the income flows down directly into the expense column and straight into the liabilities column. As people earn more through promotions or raises, they often fall into what's known as bracket creep. Their taxes go up, and they immediately use that extra net income to buy more expensive liabilities, a bigger house, a new car, which inflates this bottom right box and eats up the new salary. Two primary emotions keep this loop running: fear and greed. The fear of not having money motivates people to work hard, and the desire for luxuries dictates how they spend their paycheck the moment it clears. Look closely at the text inside these boxes. In this structure, the individual's labor is divided up to pay everyone else. They work for the company owner up top, the government through taxes, and the bank through their mortgage at the bottom. This is the rat race. It is an engineered treadmill where working harder and earning a larger paycheck only deepens a person's financial dependence on their employer and their creditors. If net worth, which often includes a bunch of depreciating junk sitting in a garage, is a flawed way to measure success, we need a more accurate yardstick. Consider the perspective of inventor and philosopher R. Buckminster Fuller. Fuller defined wealth as a measure of time, not dollars. Specifically, wealth is a person's ability to survive a certain number of days forward. If you stopped working completely today, how long could you maintain your standard of living? To extend that timeline indefinitely, you have to follow one primary rule. You must know the difference between an asset and a liability. An asset puts money in your pocket, whether you work or not. A liability takes money out of your pocket. True wealth, then, is not the accumulation of luxury items. It is the mathematical ability to buy back your own finite lifespan. Building an asset column large enough to sustain you indefinitely requires a specific catalyst to reach terminal velocity. That catalyst is time. Take the historical purchase of Manhattan Island. It is often cited as one of the most remarkable real estate bargains ever made. The island was reportedly bought for roughly $24 worth of trinkets. If that original $24 had simply been invested at an 8% annual return, by 1995, it would have compounded to more than $28 trillion. That is the sheer power of compounding interest over a long horizon. Yet the typical middle-class financial habit does the exact opposite, pulling value forward by buying depreciating luxuries up front on credit. Wealthy individuals practice delayed gratification. They allow their asset column to compound first, and eventually the cash flow generated by those assets is what pays for the luxuries. An early start date and extreme patience act as the ultimate forms of financial leverage, turning tiny initial seeds into unstoppable financial ecosystems. There is a specific mathematical threshold where a person achieves absolute financial freedom. It's often called the crossover point. This diagram compares two very different financial blueprints. The crossover point occurs the exact moment passive cash flow from assets covers your monthly expenses. Looking right, once asset income exceeds expenses, you become infinitely wealthy, severing reliance on a corporate wage. Reaching this specific point alters your entire relationship with money. You transition from being its servant to becoming its master. Once you cross that threshold, you enter a state where wealth begins to grow naturally, without requiring any additional physical labor. This diagram illustrates why the rich get richer. The asset column generates enough income to cover expenses, and the excess balance is reinvested straight back into the asset column, continuously accelerating the compounding effect. To build this engine, you have to invest in your single most powerful appreciating asset first, your own mind. Your financial intelligence dictates how effectively you can build and maintain your wealth. Remaining in financial struggle is a default choice to spend your life working for others. Investing in your financial education is a deliberate choice to work for yourself. The earlier you plant seeds of financial literacy, the sooner your assets buy back the ultimate luxury, absolute control over your own time.